Buy, finance, or lease a new car is something that I thought about a lot. And I figured that a lot of other people thought about those options whenever they're trying to figure out which route to take whenever they're going to go get a new vehicle. So in this video, I will be using the Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro simply because it's a very popular vehicle and to give you a realistic example, like real time, because it has a lot of packages and nobody like it standard, but you can determine what is the best course of action, whether it's buying it, financing it, or leasing it. So first and foremost, let's make sure we know the difference between buying, financing, and leasing. Of course, buying is the option where you're looking at the vehicle that you want to buy outright. Very simple. You just have the cash up front. So say the vehicle is $62,000, you pay the $62,000 on the spot and drive the vehicle home. Simple. Financing is when you take out a loan to pay for the vehicle and then you pay payments on the loan over the course of however many years you decide to finance the vehicle for. And leasing allows you to drive a vehicle from a dealership for a agreed upon amount of time and miles and pay for its usage rather than for the full purchase price of the vehicle. Of course, buying it will be the simplest and straightforward option. By purchasing a vehicle up front, it helps you avoid paying interest fees and additional fees that you will have to pay for the vehicle over time. But there is different problems that comes up whenever paying for a vehicle in full, because majority of people do not have enough capital to put into a vehicle straight up just like that. So say the vehicle is $42,000, you don't typically have $42,000 sitting around to tie it up into a vehicle. Overall though, it does save you a significant amount of money if you can just buy it straight up. With financing, on the other hand, you are taking the process of paying a monthly cost over the course of 4 to 8 years in order to pay in increments instead of one lump sum. But this does also come at a cost of having to pay interest on top of the original payment as well. But if you do want to own the vehicle you're getting, but just don't want to pay for it all up front in one lump sum, then this would be a very good option that allows you to do that. With leasing, however, you do also have a limit to how many miles you are able to drive in the time that you have possession of the vehicle. So if you are looking to be able to do what you want, go where you want and travel and things like that, then leasing could be an issue here. Leasing also provides services whenever something goes wrong, if it ever does. So because there is a high possibility that you will return the vehicle back to the dealership when your lease is up, the dealership wants it to be returned in good shape so that they can sell it or lease it to the next person. But let's take a look at how different the numbers actually are between buying, leasing, and financing. Let's dive deeper into that. Let's use that 2024 Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro trim, for example. And if we were to go to buy this outright, you can never just look at the sticker price because there's so many other things that's added on to it. So right here, I have a 2024 Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro from an actual dealership so we can actually use their numbers. So for this TRD Pro, without the packages or any add-ons, it is $56,515. But it is already at the dealership with multiple packages and add-ons already included. This one in particular has a phone cable charge package for an additional $248. It also has a cargo cover for $189, the black emblem overlays for an additional $229, LED undercar puddle illumination for $599, LED interior light upgrade for $229, all-weather cargo mats for $229, Predator Pro Step Bar for an additional $999, and Toyota Guard Platinum for $699. All brings the sticker price to $59,936. And also you have to include sales tax, which in my area is about 7%. So for this 4Runner would be $4,195.52. And we're not going to factor in any dealer markups or fees because that fluctuate depending on your location and what area you're in. So not only would you need to factor in those costs, but you would also need car insurance in order to drive off the lot. For a 2024 Toyota 4Runner, that will be about $125 a month on average. So in order to buy this Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro outright with the cost of the vehicle plus packages, tax and insurance, it will cost you $64,256.52. Now, say you were to finance that same vehicle with that same cost considered. And if you financed it for 72 months with $0 down with the 8% APR, your payments would be about $1,126.63 a month. So if you were to factor that in with the car insurance, you would be paying about $1,251.63 a month for that 4Runner. Over those 72 months, that means you'd pay about $16,860.48 in interest, which means when it's all said and done, you would pay a total of $81,242.36 for the Toyota 4Runner in those 6 years. So yes, you are paying $16,860.48 in interest, but you did put $0 down, so there was no upfront cost. So you would need to weigh out the odds for your specific situation. But sometimes it does make more sense to pay an additional $235 a month in interest than putting up $65,000 upfront. But say you were to lease the 4Runner TRD Pro, and say for example you leased it for 36 months, which is 3 years, with a annual 12,000 mile limit. You would have to put $2,239 down at signing, and your monthly payments would be about $1,089 a month on average. Plus that $125 car insurance cost, that means you would be paying $1,214 a month total. So if you were to look at this over a 6-year span to directly compare it to the financing option, then in a 72-month term with these costs, including a cost due at signing, you would pay a total of $80,772 in a 6-year span. And over those 3 years, with the down payment, monthly lease payment, and that initial car insurance cost, you would pay about $41,568. Plus, you wouldn't have to worry about any maintenance fees over this time, which is a good thing. However, you would be limited to only 12,000 miles a year. So that is something that you have to weigh out as well. But at the end of that lease, you could start a new lease with a newer car. But when all said and done for these 3 examples, you would pay $64,730.88 in one lump sum straight up in order to purchase it outright. And you would pay $81,242.36 in a 6-year span in order to finance it, which is $1,251.63 a month. And you would pay $41,568 in 3 years in order to lease it, which is $1,154.67 a month. And of course, always do your due diligence, and there will be a lot of personal factors that goes into this that can change these numbers drastically. So make sure if you're going in to buy, lease, or finance a vehicle, you do a lot of research before you just take any video and run with it. But with that being said, I'll see y'all on the next one.